the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on a Tuesday morning. We're glad that you joined us wherever it is and whenever it is that you tune us in here on the Auburn Blitz, making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. It's Brett and Randy this morning to get you going here on a Tuesday. Randy, what's up, man?
Glad to be here, Brett. Getting a little cooler weather outside.
Don't get used to it, but it's lovely right now. It's awesome.
Hey, we don't need it to be around long because what's going to end up happening, these kids are going to get about a 2 or 3 week span.
Yes.
I'm not saying that it's going to hold in, and then it'll be blistering hot and humid that first game. There'll be cramps all over the field, and I'm thinking high school a lot more than I am the college side. When I bring
you're gonna get them in, you're gonna get it in college too.
Well, you kind of get them in college, Brett, but if you get them in college, there's a problem. Because the training that goes into these college athletes, not to say that they haven't always been trained.
Right.
Hey, by the way, I went back. I was making my 433rd post on the AHSA radio network last night, and I watched the 100-year Auburn football.
Right.
Do you remember that back in '92 when that came out, Brett?
Yeah, the Centennial. Yes.
So good. The way they put that together and all of the old footage and a lot of the historical stuff, and I'm obsessed with that, so I could talk for 30 minutes on Auburn football history. But to go back and see some of that footage that I'm not sure that I've watched that all the way through. Brett, did they have that at the Russell retail store back in the day? And it was playing.
They did.
So I hate to reminisce.
I had it playing on those TVs in there.
So you could go in there, and if all of you remember Russell Retail on Highway 280 in Ellick City, you could go in, you could pick out your Russell gear. They had all of the transfers that you could go and pick out your Auburn transfers or whatever sports transfer that you wanted, and they'd transfer that down, and they had Auburn on one side, Alabama on the other.
Yeah, they actually had a room. Yeah, they had a little room set up to the right over there
where they would press everything.
No, there's actually a little cave room you walked in to the side that had Auburn and Alabama gear in it.
I got you.
And then when Alabama went to Nike, it became all an Auburn room. So
I remember going in there with my parents and being upset when they'd make me leave because I would be watching those Auburn or Alabama historical videos that would be up that they had playing all the time. And our good friend Phil Tedder was actually leading that charge back in the day. So Phil, if you're tuning in, I'm spotlighting your good works. And at 12 years old, I didn't want to leave Russell Retail because I got to watch the historical videos that came through. And I've always loved that, but I watched it again last night. And Brett, one of the big things about Pat Dye that they talked about was just the immense amount of hell that he put those players through in that first season, what kind of shape they were in going into that first season, and it built into a great run in the 80s. So, no, you don't need it this temperature for long because you can't get ready for it.
You can't, but I mean, it's only going to be around for a few days. It's going to be back to normal. So, what normal is 90 something and humidity. But like you said, that's what you get right now. Let's thank some of our partners to get started here before we dive in what we want to talk about this morning. Sensagreen for air that's cool and clean. Call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, saving people thousands of dollars. Proud supporters of our podcast here on Auburn Blitz and Auburn Athletics. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm. I'm telling you, I've witnessed what they've done the last few weeks and how they actually work and save people a lot of heartache, headache, and money when you're dealing with multi-million-dollar projects like they deal with. That's why you hire them from start to finish, pre-construction all the way to the finished product. Call on Scout Program Management and Bunkers in downtown Auburn. 50 parking spots there on West Glen. Can't say enough about Alan and KJ and Wes and those guys over there, but what a great atmosphere. If you haven't been to Bunkers after you've been listening to us talk about it so long, I don't know what your problem is. So great food, great atmosphere. Just go check them out. And especially when it's really hot outside, not right now, but when it's hot, you can go play a round of golf in there and not have to go out there and sweat. You got a bar right there beside you. So got everything you need. I don't know what you're doing. Yes, Patrick, 24 more days. And yeah, looking forward to this getting started. It's hard to believe. It's right around the corner here. And a lot coming out of fall camp. Faith was at practice yesterday, and so she got some good footage. She got interviews with Horatio Fields and Robert Woodyard. We posted that yesterday on our Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So go check that out. I know a lot of you have. I know the Horatio Fields one's been seen a ton out there, but just kind of some notes coming out of practice yesterday and out of Saturday. We'll start with the running back room. Damari Alston with a little bit of a heel bruise, nothing really that big a deal, but just, watching that. And then Jeremiah Cobb still with that finger issue that they don't want to get it hit. They don't want to do anything else to kind of maybe delay him getting back to full speed. So they've kind of been limited in what he can do there. So, what happens when a couple of guys in the front have to take a little bit of a back seat? You get some guys back there that get thrust to the front. And, I can tell you Darrell Robinson, from what I saw last week, really looks good. He continues to look good. And then, of course, the freshman who should be in high school right now, who should still be at – I know Keith Etheridge is hearing all this stuff, and he's like, my God, dude. He's like, he's supposed to be on my team right now. Instead, he's up the road at the other Auburn. But, man, he's already showing out. Damari Alston came by and told some people yesterday at practice. He said, you want something to write about? Write about Omar Mapson. That guy's the real deal. And we saw him in high school. Not surprised, but maybe a tad bit ahead of even where everybody thought he might be right now.
Well, I'll stick with that for just a second. First of all, there are differences in programs and coaches when you head off to college, and you've got to, have your eyes open to what the talent level is. And so I'll start there, Brett. I mean, you've been calling Keith Etheridge games and interviewing Keith Etheridge for how long, Brett? 20 years?
At least 20.
And he is one of the best this state's produced. Top to bottom. He's won state championships. We started, Brett and I are in our 18th year with the HSA Radio Network, and one of the top coaches in the state when we were first starting was Keith Etheridge at Leeds High School. And what did Leeds High School do, Brett? They just ran one great talent through there after another. They could throw the ball around, but, that offense would change a bit. And I'm going somewhere with this. I mean, you could be versatile, you could be pass happy, but always wanted to play physical football is what I remember. And Coach Etheridge ends up at Oxford High School. And, you and I called that state championship game. Oxford able to win that one late, Brett. And the memory that I had in that game was, their all-world quarterback was out. He had been injured.
Right.
And they had to pretty much put a scat back, slot receiver back there at quarterback, snap it to him, find a way to move the football, and they did. Great coaches is not just one specific scheme. They can coach a little bit of everything. And now you look at his record at Auburn High School, hasn't won a state championship yet. I think Coach Etheridge has got, 4 or 5 state championships overall.
He does.
Hasn't gotten over the hump at Auburn High, but Brett, it is just so incredibly tough to get over the hump. But the winning percentage that he's had at Auburn High is very, very good. And it allows a running back like Omar Mapson to come into the college game. And I know he should have a year left there at Auburn High, but he's a lot more ready than some other guys may be. Jason Caldwell last year was sending us videos over of Omar in the weight room squatting.
Right.
And working out, and the look that he had. And I remember you and I watching one of those videos and going, my gosh, I mean, look at the weight on that squat rack. Look how strong he is. He's already ready from a physicality standpoint. And, another thing that I've always been impressed with Coach Etheridge is, they throw the ball out of the backfield to the backs quite often.
Right.
Use them not only as a downhill runner, but they'll get them out in space and let them make plays. So he brings that versatility to the game, which I'm hopeful, if we get the quarterback position right, is going to be something that we can use moving forward. So, Brett, I'm not even, I see your title down here, surprises so far. You know, you never know that a 17-year-old running back, especially, can make this big a splash.
Right.
When you come out of a program with a weight facility and a weight room lean that they have at Auburn High, you're a lot more ready for this college game than you would be somewhere else. And so to say I'm surprised, I'm not surprised. I'm hopeful that we've got and it would be a diamond in the rough. Look, I think he was going to be a top 5 recruit in the state this year, maybe a 4. He wouldn't have been a 5-star, but he would have been a 4-star that we would have loved to have had. But to go in and get him that early and bring him in and then play that early,
Right.
would be the only surprise, I would say.
You know, I think this is a kid that, I mean, when you reclassify and you come in, sometimes you get lost in the mix because you didn't have, you know, another year of everybody hyping you up and you being the guy coming into that class. You all of a sudden kind of, oh, I'm going to reclassify and I'm going to go ahead and enroll. And then you kind of just slide in. And then it's like, okay, you might not hear from one of those guys for a couple of years. We're already hearing about him. And it's not because Damari Alston and Jeremiah Cobb or Chopped Liver. Those 2 guys are going to get the carries. And look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Darrell Robinson coming in from UConn and his numbers at UConn, I think I heard Jason yesterday say something like he averaged 7 yards a carry at UConn. And some people go, well, he was at UConn. Well, to me, that's even better. If you're averaging 7 yards a carry at UConn, you're probably not playing behind the caliber of offensive line you would see in an SEC or an ACC or something like that. So, again, I know things are relative, but I think that speaks higher for him. And I told everybody this the other day, I don't know what I had in my mind shaped of Darrell Robinson, but it was opposite of what I saw. I mean, really, and it was like I was looking for a guy that was squatty and, you know, Kevin, that's not what it is. Now, he's a strong-looking guy, but he's a little taller than I thought, you know, just mentally. I mean, I've been reading the roster. I know what they got him listed at, but sometimes that doesn't translate in your mind until you see somebody. It's kind of like almost TJ Yeldon. You know, you didn't realize how lengthy he was until you saw him.
Until you walked up to him.
Right. Yeah. So that's a surprise. A couple other things coming out of practice yesterday. The offense, Faith told me that, you know, the offense really implementing more of the quarterback run look. They've been throwing most of the time. So the defense had kind of gotten, you know, into a situation where they weren't even really honoring the run. And now they put that in. It looks different. It looks different because now you can't just sit back and expect to pass or whatever. So, and that's what these guys have. I mean, Jackson Arnold and Deuce Knight are weapons running the football. And one thing you can't emulate in practice is when a play breaks down and you can let the quarterback go full speed because you're not going to hit the quarterback. You're not going to let them break tackles and stuff like that. You're going to blow the whistle. But a lot of that kind of gets lost and you can't really get a good picture. But that's a weapon. And again, we know what a dual threat quarterback can do, especially at Auburn. And that's when we've had some of our most success in the last 15 to 18 years, Randy, is when we've had a true dual threat quarterback that when things break down, they can go take what the defense gives them. If they see green grass, they can go get 15 yards if they need to.
Well, they make things difficult all the way around. From a read standpoint, if you're an outside backer, a jack backer, and you've got to read, is he going to give or is he going to pull? I mean, I'll always go back to that 2013 game at Auburn. You know, probably the biggest play in that game outside of Sammy Coates and then the touchdown late, but was Nick Marshall pulling that football, and I can still see it in my head. Him pulling that on a read give to Trey Mason, going around left end and taking it to the house, just splitting those two safeties and taking it to the house. And when you've got a guy that can do that at the quarterback position, which I think we do, you take advantage of it. And even though Jackson Arnold had his woes last year, and we hope that the yips are out, and this year we get the best version of Jackson Arnold, he had some games where he was still dynamic with his legs. And look, lean on what your strengths are. And if that is a strength, and I think it is for both of those guys, then Auburn's got something to build on there. And you and I saw Deuce Knight in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game against some great talent really make some runs look easy. You know, he's not a Nick Marshall that can roll over and play defensive back or safety in the Canadian Football League. He's not that type of athlete, but he's a long, lengthy athlete that eats up yards.
He just kind of glides.
Just kind of glides around. You still think he may pass. If he doesn't, he's picked up 8 or 10 yards. You and I have called some in high school that were just the exact same. It's not that you put a stopwatch on them and say, I wonder what this guy runs a 40 in.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care what he runs a 40 in. Nobody seems to ever get a grip on him. He just keeps moving around back there and finding ways to get the football down the field. And so I think we have got a while before we're going to see him, but it's still worthy of saying that I think the 3 guys that have a chance to take snaps for Auburn this year are a lot alike. You know, they're different too, but they do bring a lot of the same skill sets to the game that you would hope for. That was always my biggest worry with the quarterback room when it was Gus Malzahn later in his career. I mean, we would have 3 totally different quarterbacks. And I mean, you got to scheme totally different from an offensive standpoint if one were in over the other. And never understood that. I mean, you're the one picking them. And for them to be that much different always was a head scratcher to me. I don't think that. How about you, Brett?
Yeah, I don't either. I think Coach Freeze has done a really good job of getting guys that are very much alike. Skill sets are similar. Nothing's going to change when you get one in. For other, I mean, why would you have 2 totally different style quarterbacks?
Very odd to me.
Just to make any sense. So Patrick said with Robinson, it's dependability more than ability. I get that. Glenn said ESPN had goat racing on Sunday. Yeah, everybody's run out of stuff, man. It's time to get some football. A couple more of our partners here before we move on. Some other big-time surprises coming out that may not really be surprises for some of you, but we're going to talk about it. But Sure Shot in Alexander City, can't say enough about Scott Watson and Sure Shot. They do a tremendous job. Dove season is next month, everybody. So go get your ammo, go get a new gun. I mean, it's time to buy yourself a new gun, right? I mean, you deserve it. I'm telling you, you deserve it. Go get it. 256-329-0080. Go check on everything outdoors at Sure Shot there in Alexander City. And Oliver Ross, our good friend Mark Gilliland, a full service and licensed bartending business that will come to your party of 20 to 20,000, a big convention, a frat party, a sorority gathering, whatever it is, a wedding. They handle it all. And again, they're fully licensed and trained. So they're going to come there and you're going to look like you know what the heck you're doing. Okay, so it's worth the price to just go ahead and hire them. So call on Oliver Ross, man. We're just blessed to be associated with some really, really great businesses here on the Auburn Blitz. All right, I know you're not going to be surprised by these guys on defense. Right up on the front, Jordan Crawford is a guy that I think a lot of people, you're looking at, is anybody surprised by that?
Well, I'm not. I mean, you and I called his 6A state championship game last year where Parker got over the hump and won. I think I made mention in that game that I can only think back to a couple of defensive linemen that we've seen over the past 20 plus years of calling ball games in the state that was that pivotal in a win. And I'm talking from a big play standpoint. It's hard to not call all defensive linemen, especially nose tackle types, important.
Right.
But they may be like Terrence Cody, where you look down at the end of the year and he's an All-American, but he only had 30 tackles during the season. I mean, you get those kind of crazy stats. Jordan Crawford, if you went to a Parker game and you didn't say Naeem Alford was the best player out there, it was Crawford. He's that athletic, Brett. Reminded me and you of DeMarco McNeil back in the day at Blunt High School.
You do.
DeMarco McNeil was the player of the year in the state of Alabama as a defensive tackle at Blunt. Went to Auburn, was exceptionally good at Auburn during a winning stretch of football there at Auburn, Brett. And that's the perfect example of a defensive lineman that not only fills a hole, but is able to get off of blocks and make plays behind the line of scrimmage. You're all going to see it. He looks like DeMarco McNeil too, by the way. This is not a 6'4", 330-pound gargantuan. No. This is a 6'1", 300-pound, maybe. They may not even weigh that. I don't know what they list him, Brett. You'd have to pull it up.
Yeah, he's 6 foot, 340 pounds.
So he is maybe put on a little bit of weight.
Oh, he's put on weight.
Since you and I saw him. But last year I would call him Parker. He was 6 foot, 290 to 310.
Yeah, he's definitely put on a good bit of weight, and saw that in spring and then into this fall camp. You can see, but it's not like he's not carrying it well. I mean,
yeah,
he hasn't lost a step. I mean, still as athletic as he ever has been.
Well, here's what I'll say with that is you don't want him to lose a step. Whatever it is, please don't allow that step to be lost, because I think from a strength and physicality standpoint, no matter what weight he carries, he's going to be fine. Look, I'm not a college coach, so what do I know? But we've seen it in the pros. Not all great defensive tackles have to weigh 340 pounds anymore. The best one we've seen over probably in my lifetime is defensive tackle that played at 285. Agree with that, Brett? I mean, so I would, everybody's going to not be surprised. You and I won't be surprised that Jordan Crawford's getting a lot of snaps.
A couple other guys up front too that's making some noise, and I'm glad to see this. This is round 2 for Jay Hardy at Auburn. He was highly touted out of Tennessee, didn't make it at the first go around, transferred out. It's back now at Auburn and is getting a lot of opportunities. I'll just leave it at that. To get a significant amount of playing time, and it's time. He's a redshirt senior, so it's time for him. The old saying to crap or get off the pot. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, this is his last go at it, so why not? I mean, why would he not be in a position to do that? I just wanted to say that about him, and then I've been talking about Jared Smith since spring. Now, he was undersized a little bit as far as his weight. Now, he's put on weight since the spring camp, and his length. And Jason and I talked about this the other day. Even in spring when he was kind of getting pushed around a little bit, he still caused problems for quarterbacks just because of his length, and he was able to block passes, and he's just very odd. It's just one of those situations where it's a program that he's coming from, and I've heard all the other people go, Jared Smith, we didn't really go after him. That's bull crap. Like, if you didn't go after this guy, then you were asleep at the wheel. Now, if Brian Harsin would have been at Auburn, he wouldn't have gone after him because he wouldn't have even known he existed. But Jared Smith, everybody wanted. I don't care what anybody says, and he's going to show everybody why they wanted him. And then, of course, his teammate, New Boy Fagans, is going to play in the secondary. You saw him in the spring. He's still doing good things now in the fall. It's programs. Omar Matson at Auburn. These kids at Thompson. Jordan Crawford at Parker. I mean, look at the high schools. Especially these in-state kids that we're getting. Where they're coming from. What do they all have in common? They've either won a state championship or played for multiple and are in programs that are elite. So when you come in as a freshman, there's an expectation for themselves, and they don't know anything but winning. They don't have to do anything but win. So it's a culture thing. So they get there, they go, man, I know y'all ain't had any winning seasons, but we've been winning the last 3 or 4 years where I've been, and I'm not going to change that when I come here. I'm not going to start losing. So I think that infuses your culture too.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt. And Brett, I think a lot of our high school kids in the state get a bad rap for at times finding their way to programs and coaches.
Right.
But I want everybody to just listen into what Brett just said for the last 3 or 4 minutes. If you surround yourself by talented individuals and great leaders and winning programs, for the most part, if you've got the talent, if your ceiling's high, they're going to get the most out of you. And if you're not getting it somewhere else, they find their way to great coaches. Keith Etheridge is one. Mark Freeman's another. We've been saying that for years and years. You and I have been saying that 20 years. But I think now at Auburn, because we did recruit the state of Alabama so well the last couple of years, especially last year, Brett. I mean, if I would have told you 5 years ago that Auburn went in and got the top 2 players at Thompson High School, what would you have said?
If you'd have told me we got them?
5 years ago, if I would have said Auburn went into Thompson High School and got their best 2 players and they got a chance, you'd have passed out.
I was going to say, I would have been like, there's no way we got them, because you got to show up to get them. He didn't even know. He thought Thompson was a guy down the road that sold tractors. He didn't have any idea there was a high school named Thompson. But anyway.
Fagans, though, I want to stick with Fagans. You just hit on Smith. Fagans has wowed me for a couple of years. And it's –
hey, man, this guy's special, dude. I'm telling you. Everybody's known it.
Well, when you watch safeties play, some are impressive with their physicality. They play the run better than other safeties.
Right.
Some are a little more impressive by their skill set and coverage. But some are like, and I'm not comparing him, but the very best safety of mine in your lifetime's Ed Reed. He's the best one. Somebody wants to come up with another one, I'm going to argue you down. And why was Ed Reed so special? He could do both of those things, but he was such a ball hawk and so brilliant IQ-wise as a football player that every time you watched him play, he was like, how did he make that play? How did he know that ball was going there? And it was something in every game that you watched that you left wowed. And Fagans, you and I've seen him play a lot. Every time I watch him play, there's a play in the game where I go, he's brilliant. Like his IQ's through the roof. And
that's what he's been showing. That's what he's been showing on since he's been at Auburn in spring and now in fall camp. And that's what everybody goes to first is how his football IQ's off the out of the roof, off the chain, whatever you want to use. So
I said it in our last show, and I'll say it. Making great plays is not a miracle.
No.
Like people can get caught up and say, "Man, he's just lucky." No, he's special, and I think New Boy's special, and I don't think we're going to keep him off. I don't think we're going to keep him off the field long, Brett. I don't see it.
No, I don't either. A lot of comments coming in. War Eagle to you, Jonathan. Justin said Zy Walker needs to do something. There's no doubt about it. Michael, War Eagle to you, good morning. The length and girth comment continues on. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Hey, look, when I was in sitting there in the room and he said that, like the wind from everybody's head going, what? And then, I'll just leave it at that. How's Kieron Crawford doing? Kieron Crawford is going to be a starter for Auburn. I mean, it's again, some of these guys, and I'm going to shift over to the receivers here in just a second. People were talking about, Cam Coleman wasn't running some with the first team yesterday. Are you kidding? If anybody's at practice worried about who's getting reps right now, look, here's why they're getting reps the way they're getting reps at receiver, in my opinion, because you got so damn many of them, and they're so good. You can't let them sit over there and rot. You need to rotate guys into the first team. I already know what Cam Coleman can do. I already know what Eric Singleton can do. I know what Malcolm Simmons can do. Everybody's like, well, Perry Thompson's running with first team. Well, good. He needs to get up there and run some first team reps, and he has been showing out a little bit. Do I think Perry Thompson's ready to take somebody's spot? No, I don't. I don't think. And could he? Yeah, he could. All these guys. Sam Turner ran with first team some yesterday. Like, all these guys are going to get in the mix. You can't just say, okay, these are our 3 guys and everybody else is, predicated to doing second and third team. Work them in. I mean, I don't need to see Cam Coleman go up, make another one-handed catch. I already know he can do it. I mean, I don't need to see Malcolm, juke somebody out of their shoes. I already know he can do it. So let some of these other guys, because you're going to play more than 3 receivers. You got 8, and they're all good. So you're going to really need to get them worked in. Just said we heard we may have 4 Crawfords on defense at the same time. Definitely a possibility, no doubt. John said winning is contagious. Unfortunately, losing is too. And we've had a little bit too much of that, too much. So, but the bottom line is we're still early in camp. And so when you say surprises like I do this morning so far, there's some guys that have showed out that maybe you wouldn't otherwise talk about, but we're still in the very, very infant stages of camp. There's still a lot that has to be done and a lot of football left to practice before our first game. And so it's good to see, but I don't see the reason to make such a big deal out of, well, he's running first team with this, as a receiver versus this guy. And where's this guy? It's going to work its way out. What I do see, Randy, is depth everywhere. I haven't been able, nor anybody's been able to really say that in a few years at Auburn. But what you do see, even though like the defensive line, when you bring James Ash in the portal and you have a Jay Hardy round 2, and then you got freshmen like Jordan Crawford, and you got a guy like, Malik Blockton that was here last year and really started showing how good he was and is going to be projected as a starter this year. You got depth now, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Thank God. Because you can't play a guy 60, 70 snaps anymore. Coach Freeze said that, Saturday. The day of playing a defensive tackle 60 snaps, you're in bad shape. You haven't run that guy out there for that many snaps.
Well, the tempo's changed so much. You're not going back in the huddle and standing there and trying to run the clock down and the old 10-7, 9-6 football games. Those aren't in existence anymore. And so I think Auburn does have depth. Right. The key to this, as we know, and I always bring it up as we close out on our talks on depth, is can we get premier quarterback play? And we're going to see. I do tip my hat to this coaching staff, Derek Nix, Hugh Freeze. I like this quarterback room, Brett. I'll say that. I'm very hopeful that Jackson Arnold is the answer.
He needs to be.
I think these coaches feel that he is. But if he's not, I like the 2 behind him too. And it's not just 1 behind him. I like that entire room. And that's come a long way. I've been concerned about our backups for going on 10 years now. Would you agree with that? But I love, if it were one of the other 2, so be it. I think you can get good play out of them, and I think they all mesh well together.
John said Auburn makes the playoffs this year if they start strong by beating Baylor. I'm not going to say that yet. That's one game. One game doesn't make a season, but I can tell you this. If you start off 0-1, you probably ain't going to the playoffs. But I can tell you this, just because you win the game, and I said this a few weeks ago to you, Randy, and again, I sincerely mean this, and some people may go, well, what? You can win ugly and come out of there going, man, we ain't very good because 2 teams played like crap and you snuck one out. You also can lose pretty, and you can go, well, Baylor pretty damn good, and I don't know anybody's going to beat them. And we lost to them by 3 on the road, and it was a shootout, 38-35, and it was not because our defense played bad. They just had superior offensive play. So, again, I'm not saying that's going to work out, but I'm saying you can learn a lot from a loss, too, about how good you're going to be in a season versus false security on a win when you go out there like we did against Cal a couple of years ago, and Rivaldo Fairweather finally caught a pass falling down, and it's like – crap, somebody's got to win the game. Neither one of them want to win it. So let's see which one's going to actually stumble across the goal line and win it. So I'm hoping we see a strong effort by Auburn. We'd love to see a 10 to 14 point win by Auburn on the road. Look really impressive offensively. Look like they've shut down a very highly powered Baylor offense, that would be the utopian wish. And then you go into a couple of games back at home where you feel like you can kind of just get better before you go on that road trip with Oklahoma and Texas A&M. So we'll see how that kind of all plays out. Justin said, Brett, I heard a comment on another show the other day. He looks like he knows he has something where a lot of times last year he had his head down. He's been about as upbeat at practice as I've seen him. Faith asked him in the post-practice press conference the other day, how's his health? And he said, I don't feel sick, guys. Just giving an update on his condition. He said, this is the best I've felt in any fall camp. He said that I can recently remember. So, yeah, I think that's a positive. I don't think he's just saying that. I think he really feels it. And he's got a little bit of a pep in his step. He's all over the field. He does not look like a guy that's going, oh, shit, the season starts here in 20-something days, and I don't know how we're going to get ready. He looks like a coach that's ready to get this team on the field and show where they've done, and show the work they've put in for 2.5 years.
Well, I'll say this in closing, Brett. You can tell that it's football season. I walked into the shop this morning. Bo Glenn was already telling Henry that Auburn's going to win the national championship. I said, well, Bo, at least let Brett get down here and defend your comments before you go out on a limb and say we're winning the national title. But football is in the air when I start walking in and hearing the water cooler talk like that, Brett. So Bo's already got us winning the national title.
I like it. Hey, I'm here for it, man. I'd love for us to shock the world this year and come in and just showcase a strong effort. Patience. We want to say patience pays off, and hopefully it will. I don't know that we'll win the national championship. Love to make the playoffs. So got a couple more comments coming in. John said, who is Baylor's offensive coordinator? Jake Spavital is his name. So he's been there for a couple of years under Dave Aranda. So, we'll see. But again, they had a great offensive football team last year, and they've got, Sawyer Robertson back at quarterback, got both their running backs back. So they're going to be a really, really tough test for the Auburn defense. Just Means More said Eric Winters may be the best looking safety since Georgia transferred Matthews. Yeah. I can't get to all these guys. And that's a good thing. I had Elijah Melendez over here to talk about at linebacker, along with Caleb Wheatland, and of course Robert Woodyard, being the head, the lead position guy there at the Mike backer. So, we got depth, man. That's, again, we're rattling all these guys off, and we didn't get to Jay Crawford and the cornerbacks and all those guys. We didn't talk about any of those guys. So we got plenty to talk about.
Get down here and talk with Bo, Brett.
Bo needs my help down there. I can feel it.
I'm telling y'all, Brett Pritchard, I see it in his eyes. There's this little sparkle. It comes up about 2 or 3 weeks out every season. He bleeds orange and blue, and he just has this sense that things are about to turn. And I can't wait for the year that actually your glimmer turns into actual hope.
Man, no kidding. I'm tired of 4 weeks in going, well, damn, that's over. I'm glad we talked about all that 4 or 5 months for this to be dead in the water. When's basketball start?
Oh,
I don't want to be saying that. I hope we're having such a good time in football. We go, oh, by the way, do you realize that Auburn plays out in Las Vegas to start the season? Is anybody talking about that? We need that to be in the shadows, because we don't need to be looking forward to that. Spavital was at Cal a couple of years ago. That's exactly right. Justin, before he left and went to Baylor. So Justin said, I can't wait for Randy to be proud of Auburn football again. We're all waiting.
Trust me, I want to be.
We hadn't been nothing to be proud of for 4 years.
I promise. I live in an unfortunate reality. And that one I get my spirits. I talked to Brett Pritchard for about 2 or 3 months leading into the season. He has that sparkle in his eye I just mentioned. And then I usually am sitting beside him in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and I look over there at him, and he's about to throw up on me. midway through the second half of one of the first few games. And I've lived it too often. Justin, you've been with us before. You know the look.
We're overdue for some. We're overdue for some joy. I'm sorry. The circle of life, Justin, no doubt. It's time for us to be back on the mountaintop and be the Lion King or the Tiger King. I want to be the Tiger King. That won't be the Tiger King. Now, we need to watch what I say. All right, we got a couple more partners we want to thank. Old Number One Customs about to invade my house starting next Monday. So looking forward to that. I'll be looking forward to when I see them walking out the door and after everything's finished. So looking forward to that remodel of our master bathroom. We'll be showing people pictures and videos of that here on the show. So again, call them if you're looking for a remodel, bathroom, kitchen, outdoor living space. They'll do it for you. 334-752-6162 and JFA Blue Plumbing. Faith just keeps, I think Jake hired Faith on the side because every day she says, well, we might as well just go ahead and install that Home Atlas water filter duo, Brett, while you got them over there. It's only $15.99. Just drop another $2,000 while you're at it, and they'll install that in your house while they're there. But you really do need to call them, and if you need filtered water in your house, you do need it installed. And if you see what comes out of that filter, you'll call them, and you'll say, I need filtered water in my house. 844 JFA Blue, and that is also part of Jake's company as well. So they do a great job all the way around. All right, Randy, that's going to wrap us up here on a Tuesday morning. You and I will be back at lunch today for another round of all this. So we get to just talk about this all over again. But we got some things that I wanted to talk about this morning that we didn't get a chance to talk about that we'll talk about on the lunch show today. So make sure everybody tunes us in there. Again, we'll be at practice on Thursday. We have another media watch window Thursday morning. So Faith and I will be at that. So we'll try to give everybody a little bit of an update as soon as we walk out of the complex. And they got about 2 hours yesterday there. So a pretty good window to watch. Everything had to be moved inside because of the rain. So hopefully it'll be a little bit better weather on Thursday, and we'll get to see a little bit more when we're there. So, but again, appreciate all our partners. Go out there and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not done so. To all of those that have, we appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button. That helps us out a ton. All right, we're going to get out of here. We hope everybody has the best day ever, and a big old War Eagle to all of you.